Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org for more info, or you can always email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have Tatiana Perera. Now, a lot of you may remember Tatiana last time she was on our network, and we discussed her other fantastic book, Longer Lasting Mastery. Now, the reviews were so overwhelmingly positive. It was such a great experience that we had to invite Tatiana back on because it was that impactful. Now, get this. Today, we're not discussing a book that she's written. Today, we're going to be discussing a screenplay that she's written and a wonderful original idea. And I'm really looking forward to it. Before we get into it, the name of the screenplay at this moment, because it hasn't been put out yet, but at this moment, it's called The Unexpected Love Story. Now, it's a movie that is being developed. So be on the lookout for it because fingers crossed, it's going to be on the big screen very, very shortly. And I will say, Tatiana was brought to our network, People of Distinction, today by some of the best movers in the business, Parchment Global Publishing. So if you have a book that you'd like moved, do yourself a favor and contact our great friends over at Parchment Global. And you can find out more information on them at parchmentglobalpublishing.com. And guys, listen, not only is it a pleasure to have Tatiana back on the line, because the first experience was so pleasurable, but also she's just a wonderful person, right? I mean, she's a great person. Love communicating with her, and her narrative, her screenplay, The Unexpected Love Story, is something that is so relatable, right? There's something about it that is so timely. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail. I'm not going to steal her thunder. I'll leave that for her to articulate. But it's all about, and it's really all for people to understand that there are no boundaries with love, right? Not to be afraid of your feelings or afraid of being judged. And in today's time, with the advancement of technology, it is so easy to be judged. That is a constant concern that we have. And, well, I say we, I'm speaking more of a generalized we, but I guess let me just be more personal and talk from my own perspective. It is a concern that I have. And when we talk about the dating scene nowadays here in 2021, not only with this pandemic, but also just as time has begun to continue to shift and develop, the dating scene has also shifted and developed and is transferred to technology, right? It's transferred over to online applications. I have my own experience with them. I'm sure you do as well. And Tatiana is going to be speaking from her perspective and one of her experiences that she's had. Now, again, I'm going to refrain from going any more in detail with it. But guys, make sure that you keep an eye out for this fantastic screenplay once it gets out. But also, in the interim, you have to head on over to her personal websites and you have to check out her books. Okay, it's not what we're discussing today, but I would be doing her as well as all of you a severe disservice if I didn't highlight her personal sites, because these books are definitely something you're going to want to get your hands on. So the first one is longerlastingmastery.com. Then we have essentialhypnotherapy.com. And then lastly, essentiallifestar.com. All of those sites will have more information on Tatiana herself, more information on her books, as well as find hyperlinks set up to take you to the purchasing pages. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Tatiana, first and foremost, welcome back to People of Distinction, and thank you so much again for being a guest. How are you?
Hi, Benji. Yeah, good to be back. Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, listen, it's a pleasure to have you back, and we're really looking forward to this, and I'm very excited for you. I mean, embarking upon this journey, creating a screenplay is definitely not an easy feat, and I'm really very, very much looking forward to the final product. Now, before we go into the screenplay, let's hold off slightly, Tatiana. For those of our listening audience members that didn't catch the previous interview with you, let's start off. Please give us some more background information on yourself.
Okay. Hi, Benji. Yeah, lovely to be here again. And look, I've been a therapist, clinical hypnotherapist, life coach, wellness coach. I'm also a psyche, so there's a lot of areas to what I do. And one of the things that is unusual about what I do is I have the ability to awaken people out of a coma. So I'm always busy with these different areas of my life, with different people coming to me for different things. And the part about helping performance with men in the bedroom is just developed out of what I do as well. And part of that, of course, is yoga, because I've been into yoga for many, many years as well. And I realize that the energy and the questions and what's happening with men is that the more the children are a little bit older, men aren't getting the attention from their wives, and this is why adult services is such a massive industry. So when I started to have clients with men and they were telling me all these things, over the years I developed a website, and the techniques can be downloadable on how to have better performance for men, so they can actually download my techniques. And this is where my book originated from. And that book answers a lot of questions because I'm really into energy and health and performance and positive thinking. I've addressed that book on 10 different areas of energy: physical, mental, emotional, conscious, subconscious, male sexuality, female sexuality, health and fitness, and the divine state. That's the 10 levels of the headings that are in the book, Longer Lasting Mastery. And so it addresses every actual area, because a lot of men always, generally men on the planet, think that stress and release and stress and release releases in the genitals. Stress is in the head, releases in the genitals. And what happens to the rest of the body? It's disconnected with energy. And that's where the penny dropped. And I thought, well, hang on, men need to be connected to themselves, because I always explain to them what you do not have for yourself, that's something you cannot share with your partner. So this is how the book developed.
Fantastic. Tatiana, without further ado, The Unexpected Love Story. Tell us a little bit more about your screenplay.
Okay, so that happened extremely unexpectedly. The last thing that I expected to happen, because working with men, I advertise an ad, and guys call me, and of course a lot of the inquiries is about sex. And I always say, look, if you're after sex, go and call an Asian girl, get your rocks off, then you're really interested to talk to me about how to help you and your partner, then I'm happy to talk to you about it. Anyway, this person called me. I shall call him Semyon, because that's what I have written in my book about him. And I've called myself Lolita. So Semyon and Lolita. So Semyon calls me, and my first question is always, what's your name and what's your location? And when you told me that his location was in my street, suddenly my, on the back, my hair stood up on the back of my head. And I thought, no. So I just said that he lives too close to me. And after his questions, I said, no, sorry, that's the end of the story. I'll think about it. But then immediately I put his name into my address book, because I thought if he calls again, I'll know it's him, and then I won't pick up the phone. Now, what happened was he called something like 10 or 11 months later. So as soon as he called, I was surprised, and I said, hello, Semyon. So he was very startled that I knew his name. So just to fast forward a little bit, he then started texting me from time to time. So it started with texting, and then he continued. He wanted to meet me, and I just sort of said that he might be living in my street. So then I said, okay, send me a photo of yourself, because as far as I knew, the person who was living next door to me, because I looked down from my balcony to the apartment below me, and that's where he was living. And I thought, oh, no, 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 no. And so then I started putting the blinds down in case that person could see me. God, I didn't want to identify myself. And so I said, look, send me a photo of what you look like, because I thought, because I knew that tenant. And when he sent me a photo, he said that those previous tenants had moved out. So that was a sigh of relief, At least I hadn't met him. Okay, so fast forwarding a little bit forward, a few months after that, I think we passed one another. He was putting out his bin, and I was coming back from putting out my rubbish, and suddenly we passed one another. And I thought, oh my God, that was him. And as soon as I went back inside, he texted me and he said, that was you, wasn't it? So then he knew I was in the same apartment building. He knew I was in the same apartment building. So now it was like, oh shit, what's going to happen? So then he's texting me, and it continues to say, can we meet? Can we please meet? Can we please meet? And again, several months after that. And then, of course, I'm seeing from my balcony that he's growing. He's got a little hothouse there, and he's texting me that he's growing basil. Would you like some basil? And I'm ignoring all those texts. And as I'm ignoring all those texts, fast forwarding, I don't know how he discovered it, but he did. Somehow he figured out exactly where I was. And then he texts me, there's basil at your door. And I couldn't, like, oh my God, my eyes nearly popped out. I opened my door, and then there was a whole lot of basil at my door. I live in an apartment building. There's about 3 stories in the apartment building. So the front entrance is on the ground floor, but the back part of my apartment slopes down. So there's another level of apartments, just another level, and that's his level underneath mine. So what are the chances? So, and then he said, look, why can't we meet? And then I'm thinking, no. Okay, let's meet at a cafe. Again, fast forwarding another couple of months. So this took about a good 12 months before I agreed to meet him. Mm-hmm. And then finally I said, okay, all right. So he came into my apartment. We sat down on the carpet, had a bit of a chat. And I looked at him and I thought, oh, no, that's not the type of guy that I'd be interested in. So off he went, and but there was some sort of a strange, I don't know what you call it, strange or lighthearted type of a dynamic. And because I'm fit and it was summer, I'm always doing exercises. And I had like a cozy on, like, you know, bathers. We call in Australia, we call them bathers. I think in America, I don't know what you call it in America. Sometimes in Australia we call them cozies. And so it was a full suit, kind of like, but pretty sexy swimming costume. So I'm doing back bends, standing on my knees, doing back bends with my arm over my head. And I sent him that photo of me. And his response was, oh, I'm very fit too. I'd really like to for you to show me some exercises. Would you come down? It's your turn to come, and I'll introduce you to where I live. So I went downstairs. So now, you know, we know that we're friggin' well neighbours. I went downstairs and I was doing the exercises on the floor, on the carpet. And then to sort of have a little bit more to talk about, I also do numerology. And numerology means you get the birth date and you put the birth date down. And I said to him, look, I could introduce you to yourself through your birth numbers. So he was very interested, and I sat down with him, wrote his numbers down, and he was sitting opposite me. And then as I'm doing it, he's kind of like slowly maneuvering himself closer to me. And then he sat sort of next to me, and I could feel a real warmth, sort of an energy. And there's a balcony. He goes, look, let me show you the balcony. Look, this lovely view I've got. Because the view I've got from my window upstairs is this magnificent view of the bay. And the boats, there's a seaplane there. And during the pandemic, I'd walk down to the bay and sit in the park there. And it's just a perfect, beautiful spot. We're very, very lucky to have this lovely spot here, right on the bay at Rose Bay in Sydney. So downstairs he's got a different view of the bay, And he says, have a look. And then instead of going back into the lounge room, he says, look, come into the bedroom because there's this lovely view on my bed of the bay. So I'm sitting there on the bed, continuing with my numerology, and then I finished. And then after I finished, he said, look, you've really given me something very special. I would also like to give you something special. And I said, what? And he said, I'd like to pleasure you. Now, I knew what that meant, but I didn't know what he thought that meant. So he slowly started to kiss me on the neck and kiss me, continuing to kiss me. Anyway, I'll let the audience use their imagination with that kissing me. And at the end of it, I said, no, I'm not going to have sex with you, but let's just say it really continued on without the sex. So then I was quite stunned because the connection was amazing and he was gentle and delightful and respectful and everything like that. And I went back to my apartment and then the texting continued from there. Now, I'm going to fast forward quite a bit from here because Semyon is very different to me. Like here I am. I don't like to tell any of my clients how old I am. But because I have the ability at my age to still do one-arm handstands and I do 30 push-ups twice a week, and then on top of that I do other handstands, and then I do squats and back bends and all of that. Now, I don't want this to get out to anyone, and certainly he doesn't know. He doesn't know what age I am. I think he thinks that I'm in my early 60s, but actually in another few weeks, I'm going to be turning 74.
Wow.
And he is 42 or 43. So you can see this massive age difference. Mm-hmm. So the whole thing is really, really, really doing my head in. So what is he like? He's very jovial. He's like an extrovert. So where I'm serious and I'm always dealing with clients, and I'm always sorting clients out because apparently, apart from being a clinical hypnotherapist, I'm also a psychotherapist and I'm also a resource therapist. So I'm always helping people with the emotional issues, emotional problems, where they're stuck with their health, all of these things. So it's a very serious approach that I have. But as soon as the client's walked out the door, that's the end of it. I'm back into my own positive self, and I'm very vibrant. I'm also a scuba diver, and I've done skydiving and all of that sort of thing. Now, Semyon is very different. He entertains lots of friends, and from upstairs here, I would look down, and he's always got guys there. He's always drinking. He's always laughing. He's always, but they're all guys. And then when I'd see an occasional girl, I'd sort of get really anxious, not knowing back then that I started to get attracted to him. And I think I was in denial within myself for a whole year that I was attracted to him because I kept going, no. Oh, no, this is just a fling. No. So as the time goes by, a year goes by, and he texts me and he goes, you're very special to me, but I really want to have a serious relationship with someone who I can settle down. Obviously, that can't be with me because guess what? I am older than his mum. So that's always the problem. My oldest boyfriend and lover, my oldest one, is 15 years younger than me. So that's unfortunately has been my story. So then he meets this girl. She's a multi-millionairess. So I could see her from down and I started to get sort of anxious about it. But somehow, I suppose because I'm psychic, I automatically knew that it wasn't going to last. So I wasn't concerned at all. Now, here's the funny thing that happened. He's already with her for, I don't know, a month or so like that. And then one fine evening he says, we've got a lot of ambience up here. Why don't you come down? And I'm thinking, what? Come down? You must be joking. no. And I'm going, why? Why do you want me to come? I want you to meet them. Why do you want me to? Oh, because come down, come down. I've told them all about you, and this is what used to happen. He told his parents all about me, just as a neighbour. He told them all about me, just as a neighbour. He's always telling everyone how amazing I am, etc., etc., etc. So then I'm very, very gingerly, with a little bit of trepidation, walking downstairs, and I said, are you sure they know that I'm going to come in? Yes, come down. So I open the door, and he invites me in. I sit down with him, and they're playing dominoes. Now, mind you, they are younger than him. They're in their 30s. And I walk in, and these young, quote-unquote kids are sitting there, and they're playing friggin' dominoes. And I'm looking at this domino thing, and I'm thinking, crikey, I can't sit there playing dominoes. So I looked at them, and I said, how would you like me to entertain you? And they looked at me, and they went, what? And I said, look, what if I do numerology for you all so I can introduce you to yourselves? Oh, they were really into it. So I sat down, and one by one I did all the numerology, and they were stunned, etc. And he kept saying, oh my God, see, I told you she's amazing. Anyway, they're sitting and chatting together, and he says to me, Tatiana, do you want to come out onto the balcony? You wanted some of the basil. And I'm thinking, why the hell is he taking me away from them? So he takes me to the balcony, and they're sitting, don't forget that this is nighttime, and they're sitting chit-chatting with his supposed girlfriend there. And he takes me out in the balcony to a corner, grabs me and starts kissing me. And I'm thinking, what are you doing? What are you doing? So that's that little story, okay? Fast forwarding now. So after another couple of months, he's texting me, and he goes, I can't handle it with her. She's not a nice person, etc., etc., etc. She's very rude. She's too. She wants me to. She said to me that I would never ever have to work a day in my life and she can take care of me financially as long as I can take care of her. And he said, I can't take care of anyone. I need someone to take care of me. So long story short, he breaks up with her. I also do kayaking once a week. So when I'm racing upstairs from the bay after I've done the kayaking, she's running downstairs opposite me, bawling her eyes out. So I knew then that it was over. Okay, fast forwarding another few months, he meets another girl. Now this one is a doctor. And again, I'm thinking, oh no, here we go again. Now, mind you, after the multimillionairess, after that was over, he's texting me and he's begging to have me back. Can we please, restart from where we left off? Can we please, continue on? I mean, for me, that was a no-brainer because there's an attraction there. So I said, yeah, sure, etc. And anyway, so again, fast forwarding a few months, and he meets this doctor. And she lives a little bit further away than the other one. And then he meets this doctor, and again starts to visit her. And the thing with her is she had a child. And then we were still kind of texting, not as frequently. And I said, oh, you must be happy. You must have met somebody that you're compatible with. And he doesn't really answer that properly. And then he says, oh, no, she's got a child. I can only see her once a fortnight because, etc. So then after a little while, he says, I don't think she's really into me. So as that was coming to an end, by that time, in that moment, that was the year, on the 10th of September last year, I had a hip replacement. So he meets her in the time that I was just before I went into hospital, and then when I was out of hospital. So this is what used to happen. As soon as he met the multimillionairess, I thought, that's it, all finished, done, finished. And then weirdly enough, what does the multimillionairess does? She buys $1 million property in the next street or not just down the road a bit. And I thought, well, how can I trust that? She's going to invite him over. He's going to be there. But no, he wouldn't. And he didn't want to have a bar of her. But nevertheless, she bought a place there. But I have to say that in the area in which I live is a multi-millionaire dollar area. Because near Double Bay where I'm living, Double Bay is frequently called Double Bay, Double Pay. So there's a lot of millionaires living in this area. Be that as it may. So now, now he's finally ended with the doctor. I'm out of hospital, and I'm thinking, okay, that's done, finished. That's the end of it. Not having anything more to do with him. And then it comes Christmas, and then I thought, okay, I'm going away on my holiday. I went to Central Australia, Ayers Rock. It's a very famous place in Australia, Ayers Rock. And I went there and I thought, okay, that's the end of it. Finished, all done, completed, nah. And then I come back from Ayers Rock and he's missing me. And then I'm thinking, no. And I'm trying to, and I'm going, no. And then comes New Year and I thought, okay, surely after New Year I don't want to have anything to do with him. And then New Year comes and goes and then it's all back on again. Now, the reason I'm saying it's all back on is because Semyon has a bad habit. He drinks. And of course, I'm a therapist, healer, life coach, and all the rest of it. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't gamble, and I never have. In my early teens, when people used to go dancing and drinking and all of that, I used to go to yoga conventions, Theosophical Society, Yoga Society. I used to do fasting. So I was like Miss Goody Two-Shoes all the way up into the first time I went back then in those days, it was called disco. The first time I went to a nightclub disco was when I was 45. The first time I tasted beer when I was 45. So drinking to me is like, couldn't be bothered. Wine and all of that to me tastes sour, so I don't go there. And here is Semyon. He's a drinker. He loves so it took me a long time to realize that this drinking thing, this is a very social thing that guys do. And then he used to come upstairs and a lot of the times he was a little bit overly drunk. So then started this whole journey of me putting down some rules. And I'd go, if you're going to come up here, you're going to be drunk. Don't, I'm not going to have anything more to do with you. And then I'd text him and say, look, obviously you like to drink, you like to smoke your weed. Go and find someone that you smoke your weed with and drink. You go and get somebody like that because I'm not having a bar of it. So the rules started to come in probably about after 12 months, and then I started to get more and more stringent with him. And then there was a little bit of a sort of situation where he admitted that he was doing cocaine. And he said, oh, look, I really want you to see what I do. This is me. So then I saw all of that, and then the rules started to get even stricter. And then I didn't want to have anything more to do with him for about 2 months. I didn't want to text, no, you do all that stuff. You go somewhere else and do it. So then that was going to be a test to see what's going to be more important to him. But throughout this whole time, he is texting me and telling me that, far more to him than I will ever know. You don't know how you've helped my life. And it's so, in other words, slowly he's recognizing, because then I started telling him, okay, so you are this age. So what do you think? You're going to continue drinking and then you're going to be like your parents, that they're still drinking, they get drunk. Is this what you want? Is this the way you want your life? So anyway, in other words, I was facing him up to himself all the time. And he sort of slowly started, because then I'd say, okay, so you get wasted. How do you feel the next day? Do you like the way you feel? And then he started to admit to me that after he gets wasted the next day, then he started to very, very, very gingerly admit that he would get depressed. So now I had leverage. Now I had a little bit of leverage. And I said, okay, So how long do you think this is going? So you're going to get depressed. You know where this is going to lead? Guess what? This just might lead to Alzheimer or dementia. Is this what you're looking for? The more you deaden your brain cells the way you're doing, you're still young, but, you continue doing this into your 50s and 60s. Have a look how many people have dementia and, Alzheimer's. And what do you think is going to happen to you? So anyway, slowly. So by this time, then he's starting to slow down. Then he's starting to recognize. And then he slowly starts to recognize what I really mean to him. And then I had to admit to myself that I loved this guy. It was a real journey for me because I had to discover where was I at with all of this? What did I need? Why was I doing it? Why did I keep going back to him? What was it that I needed out of this relationship? Because this is no longer a lover. This is a full-on relationship. And I could see he can't do without me. But the good thing was that I never wanted anyone to need me, and I never wanted to need anyone. Well, I provide my own entertainment. I love to go to country markets. I take myself to the movies. I prefer to do things very, very spontaneously. So I don't need anyone to go, oh, you ready to go to dinner? Oh, no. I don't want to be at anyone's beck and call. And that was a good thing between us. He was having his life. I was having my life. And then on the other thing, of course, the other weird thing about this whole relationship is that I would pick up on what's going on in his life. So as soon as he's upset and depressed, I'd pick up and I'd text him and I'd go, what's happening? So then he realized the close connection that we had. And then I started to question myself, what did I really want? So I started to go, well, hang on a minute. What is it that I really want? What do I want? What do I need? Now, the bit that I'd like to say here, which is a little bit of fun, a little bit of tantalizing information for the for the listeners, was he's also a little bit naughty. So he also always wanted, he's complimenting me all the time. Oh my God, you're so sexy, your body, blah, 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 blah. So then he wants to buy me this really, really hot, sexy lingerie. And we have this place here in Sydney called King's Cross. Now, okay, that's a red light district. I wouldn't go there if my life depended on it, even though it's just a couple of kilometres from there. But, because of his life, because of the way he's been with naughtiness and women, and he's highly sexually active, he knows that place. And he goes, oh, I want to take you there. I want to buy you some sexy lingerie. I said, really? Okay, well, there's no way there's no way I'm going to go there. So after this happened a couple of weeks ago, I visited my friend in the country, and I didn't tell him I was going to be going away. So he's missing me already. And I get this text from him as I'm driving home and back through the country. And he goes, oh, where are you, blah, blah, blah. And then I pulled by the side of the road and I said, well, you could have just asked, you could have just called me. And he said, oh, okay, look, on your way home, why don't you pick me up and we'll go there and I'll buy you some of this lingerie that I promised. Because the other thing with him is apparently he has these wild dreams about me. This is what I mean. It just does my head in. It does my head in. And he has these fantasy dreams and he's telling me about these, oh my God, I had these dreams and you're dressed like this, so I've got to take you to this shop, anyway, all of that.
Listen, this is all incredible stuff. I mean, listen, I can't wait to see this on the big screen. But even before then or after then, I mean, this is a novel. This is a romance novel, what you're talking about. And again, the content is so relatable. Listen, guys, make sure you're going to longerlastingmastery.com, essentialhypnotherapy.com, and essentiallifestar.com frequently. Not only to pick up her fantastic books, but also to stay in the loop and be really well aware of when the unexpected love story is going to be released. Now, again, fingers crossed, it's going to be put out for the big screen, but I'm really hoping that this gets put out in novel form. Because like I said, this is a romance novel all the way, and you have a bestseller just sitting there, Tatiana, and we hope to see it published one day and also on the big screen. Tatiana, same as last time, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you once again for being a guest with us today on People of Distinction.
Thanks, Benji. Thank you.